are live and welcome to Teaching Tip Tuesday. My name is Michelle, aka The Ignited Teacher. And what I do here on Teaching Tip Tuesday is I help you to become an effective teacher by providing you with research-based strategies and effective strategies that can be used in your classroom as early as the very next day. So, let me see. I was trying to use my Stream Deck. So, thank you for being a part of Teaching Tip Tuesday. And if you are new here and you are just found me, because I know that some people have been liking my YouTube channel and chiming in, you can find me in all my YouTube videos here on my YouTube channel. So if life gets busy and you're not able to catch me live, you can hop on over to my YouTube channel, and I have a playlist where it lists all of my Teaching Tip Tuesdays. And if you're looking for something specific, you can do a search on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to like this live stream if you're on the internet right now watching me live, and give it a thumbs up, and go ahead and click that bell notification button as well so that you'll know when I go live. So I'm so excited for those of you all who are new, that are new to my community. And I have topics that I cover that are relevant to the cycle of teaching. So this month, I have some March topics. So today we're creating a test prep plan. Math strategies are coming up next. And the last one is going to be implementing that actual plan. So if you want to know what's coming up, those are the things that I have planned, because if you're teaching, and I say we because those of you all new, I'm still a current teacher. And if you are new here, and you're teaching, we're getting geared up for this test prep cycle. It's daunting. So I'll be talking about, sharing some things that you can do to get through the test prep season. I've had, 17 years of test prep. So it's something, it's kind of like a ritual to me that I go through with this test prep. So be on the lookout. I have some blog posts if you want to hop on over to my blog at fuelgreatminds.com. And I have some blog posts over there that are geared towards getting through this test prep season. So tonight's topic is creating a test prep plan. And test prep is a dirty word. I know a lot of teachers dread it. I dread it. I mean, I've been on this test prep cycle for so many years, and it's draining. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's very much so draining. So that's why I decided to do this series, because it's necessary. Teachers don't have to burn themselves out, do all this new stuff to get the results that they actually need. So creating your test prep plan can be something that you can structure and do the same thing every year, because that's what I do. And I follow these steps that I'm going to share with you every year. I think I did in my group how I, share my small groups. And I think it was on the last live stream where I shared how you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You just, in small group, you just change the content. So if you're using small group as a part of your test prep plan, that's what you do. You just change the content out, but do not change the structure. And you're probably wondering why I say that, because if you're working in a school that has a students with a high needs population, it is hard for them to come back from that. They don't do well with a lot of different transitions. It takes them a long time to get where they need to be to come down. So you want to stick with the same structure. It's something that they recognize and they're comfortable actually doing it. So the transition from just regular class doesn't make a difference. It's just, oh, we're doing test prep now with the same structure. So you're probably saying, let's just get on with it. And the first thing is, how does it work? You have to lay out a plan every year for test prep. It's not something that's going to happen by osmosis. And that first plan or point or step is to gather student data. Everything that you do in teaching and learning and trying to improve student outcomes begins with data. And this is a student data collection sheet that I got from, I created it, and it's a part of my anecdotal notes collection where I share templates, because I needed a template and I couldn't find one. So I created my own. So it's really for intervention, but you have to gather two kinds of data before you start your plan. The first is, where are your students currently at? That's those numbers. What is their achievement? Where they, if you're using Plickers, because I use Plickers, how are they doing on certain student expectations or standards? And what is their work ethic like? That's what a lot of teachers forget, to look at the whole picture, not just what students are doing or the numbers. It's really about their work ethic, that qualitative data, plus that quantitative data, which is the numbers, to get a full picture of what the students are doing. And once you've gathered your data, you need to find out, really, what do I need to focus on? So I teach 8th grade math this year, and 8th grade math, I think this is an old blueprint. This is not the most current one. No, it's not, because they don't have 52 questions. So this is an old STAR blueprint, and it tells you which categories that you need to focus on. So if I was to pull, some stuff from 8th grade, I would focus on reporting category 1, reporting category 2, 4, and 5. This is an outdated one. I thought it was the most current one, but it's not. This is from 2011. Texas has since updated theirs. But it still gets the point across where you get the most bang for your buck and what's heavily tested. For my Algebra 1 kids, 67% of the Algebra 1 tests are linear equations. So as I go into that cycle, am I going to review everything? Absolutely. But what I'm going to review heavily is that 67% of the test. Because what I'm going to tell you is that children cannot pass in the state of Texas, they cannot pass the STAR test without being proficient in the readiness standards. And the readiness standards indicate, are they ready for the next grade level? That's what STAR does. It does not indicate what they've done in the current grade level. It's what they are going to do in the next grade level. So, you have to really look at what is weighted heavily, because it is a numbers game. So once you look at that and you say, okay, I need to focus on these student expectations. I know where my students are, and I need to, help them, motivate them. That's part of it too, because your kids are not only going to do, they're going to run out of steam, and you have to get them motivated enough and get the jitters out, especially if you're in elementary. I taught elementary school for years before I moved to secondary, and you have to be their biggest cheerleader. They get nervous, they get scared. But I used to tell my students that you are prepared because you have the best math teacher in the world, and I'm going to teach you everything that I know so you'll be ready. And it really got those jitters out. So really try to support your young learners. Is it fair? No. I know that we feel a certain way about test prep, but while they're going through it, you have to support your learners. That's where we are. Until we can shift what we know in current practices from test prep, this is where they are, and you have to be their biggest cheerleader. So once you have done the blueprint, figured out where you need to go, you gather your resources. Now, I tell teachers when I train them, I tell them that, hey, don't use a whole bunch of resources. I use one resource for response to intervention. I use one resource for my core or tier 1 instruction, and I use one resource for test prep. Do not use a whole bunch of resources. The test prep resource that I'm going to use for 8th grade is called Teaching Towards the Star. Why? Because my students have a plethora of issues, and Teaching Towards the Star has so many different components that it has mini assessment, it has the concept development where they can just practice the concept without the actual test prep part. And it has everything that I need. So gather your resources, be strategic about what you're going to actually use for test prep, and stick with it. One thing that it does, using a resource that you never really used before, it helps with the validity of the data and the reliability of the data, because the kids haven't done it before and it's in a different format. During test prep, kids need to see different forms of test prep. They don't need to see the same kind, because in test prep, a lot of teachers don't know, it invokes a different type of thinking. So what you need to do is definitely give them multiple formats for the test prep. And the last step is to create a calendar. You can use Google Calendar, or you can use a planner calendar. I use a planner calendar. I'm not a Google Calendar person when it comes to laying out things, but I definitely will use my planner calendar. And sometimes I may transfer it, but you need a calendar to keep you on track so that you finish in the allotted time that you need before testing. I generally wrap up my test prep a couple of days before the actual testing date, because I want to give my kids some time to settle and get their mind, what they have to do, focus, and do some, you're ready type activities, even if they're not ready. What sometimes our kids need, okay, you can grow. And that's why I focus on growth rather than proficiency, because in life, it's a real life skill. We grow from a lot of different things that we do. And that's what we're looking for. Sometimes kids are not going to pass the test, and that's the reality of it. But can they grow from where they started in your classroom? You should have 2 routes. And if you've been following me for a while, you should know that I support having 2 routes. You have your growth kids and you have your proficient kids. That's just the reality of it. And if you're telling yourself that, oh, all my kids can pass, or your principal's telling you that all the kids can pass. That is not going to work at all. So let me go ahead and do a little recap. The first step is to gather data. Everything that we do in education should start with data. Get your blueprint, what do you need to focus on, and gather those resources that match what you're going to focus on. And the last step is to create a test prep calendar. You need that calendar so that you can stay on pace with where you need to be before the actual testing date. So if you need more support with this, you can always, my nose is itching, catch me in the, let me see if this widget is going to come up, in the Math Intervention Academy. And there it is. The Math Intervention Academy is, what I do is I support teachers through math intervention. You can get on the wait list. I have planning sessions with the teachers where you can come and ask questions and get the support that you may or may not be getting from your school with intervention. And I have 64 wonderful teachers in this group, and I would love to have you all be a part of this Math Intervention Academy. So if you're looking for support in that area, check out Math Intervention Academy at the mathinterventionacademy.com. So with that being said, I'm going to close out this Teaching Tip Tuesday. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, if you are on the replay, in the comment section, press #replay. Give me your comments. If you're watching me live, tell me what you think about this. Tell me about your test prep plan. And if you have any questions, I'll definitely get back to you. You all have an awesome evening, and I will see you all in my next live stream or video for Teaching Tip Tuesday. Have a good